This is the King and Doc podcast. I am the Blunt Doctor here with my man King Hooley. Hooley, what's going on, buddy?
What's the word, baby? What's going on, man? How's it going over there?
Oh,
Happy Tuesday.
It is life. Happy Tuesday, as it was, and it always should be on the King and Doc podcast. I love it. That's just some shit I say on my show for some reason. Sometimes I really don't even know why. I say a lot of things, like, do you ever just, as you get older, you realize you're like I'm becoming my dad a little bit, just in terms of I'm just have phrases and things that I say, and I catch myself I'm like, oh, that's the way it is, or whatever the hell, not that, but I feel like
that. Yeah, I find myself getting grumpy with teenagers doing teenage things.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
and the new music is terrible, but we'll get to that. Oh
yeah.
What's how did you enjoy? Are you enjoying this NFL season? Did you enjoy this weekend? Where are you at on football right now? Because I'm furious.
Okay.
Well, the Patriots are terrible. The Cardinals didn't make the playoffs. The Bucks got trash. All the teams I have are out. The national championship in college football is two teams that I would rather die than watch play each other for the national championship. So football for me right now sucks. I did just get a Michigan championship, so I can't talk. But where are you right now on the NFL, on all of it? Where are you at?
With the NFL, I'm people who know King Julio follow Truth Be Told Sports Podcast know I am a diehard New York Giants fan. It's been a tough few seasons to say the least. But after this season, of course, I'm debating if I want to audition new teams to root for. Have you ever been there? You ever been there before?
I have, but not with a football team. Right. When I was there with the Phoenix Suns, when they fired Alvin Gentry and the team was just listless for a decade, and then the Pelicans they hired Alvin Gentry, who was my favorite coach, and they had my favorite player at the time, who was Anthony Davis. And there was this part of my mind that was like, I'm just going to root for the Pelicans from now on. And of course, I couldn't. It's not what a real fan does. I was just mad. I got past it, but I've been there.
Yeah. It sucks, man. It sucks.
But it's been a consistent thing for me
since. That's part of it. So it's been a consistent thing since 2015. I understand the offensive line has always been the problem since then. But past that, it's just management, what they do with the draft picks, passing on people. We had an opportunity to take Derrick Henry in the draft. I say this famously all the time. We end up taking Eli Apple, stuff like that. Drafting Daniel Jones when there's other, better quarterbacks, better players out there to take. Taking Saquon was perfect. I said I feel like they were I don't want to say forced, but it was kind of expected them to do that. So that's it was a safe bet was to take him. But I'm glad they did. But then deciding to ride with quarterback out of Duke and not Saquon Barkley, and letting him go, and then letting him go to a division rival where we had to play him twice. And then the first time was just an embarrassment. And thank God we didn't play him second time, because he would have broken an all-time record on us. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm kind of pissed off about being a Giants fan, bro. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, the Daniel Jones pick is inexcusable.
Man, honestly, I would never forget that day.
That was not a pick that was on anyone's radar. He was not a person that anyone believed was worthy of that high of a pick. That is inexcusable. It's you get fired for it, and that's how it is. And I think, this is something I wanted to talk about, because I think these things mark a shift. Because when you're talking about, Saquon, Daniel Jones, all these things, I don't think that there's any way that we can deny that quarterback play has taken a drop over the last 5-6 years. And it's because we had a legion of legendary quarterbacks all retire within a few years of each other. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. We've had a lot of guys who were, have legendary stats in the game, and Roethlisberger maybe doesn't necessarily belong in that group, but it's just he won. When you win multiple, you go to the Super Bowl multiple times, all these things. We're just in a different era now, and I think that I think that quarterback play has changed because you're at a point now where you can have a Jared Goff who is not a guy who can drop back and identify everything that's going on the defense and can split, defenders and do all these things. But you pair him with Ben Johnson, who is, electric offensive coordinator, and you give him weapons and you cut the field in half and say, make one of these two reads. And suddenly the offense is unstoppable. I think we've reached the point where offensive sophistication is not necessarily all about a quarterback dropping back and running Earnhardt Perkins and diagnosing what's going on with the defense and playing four guys in option routes in the way that Brady and Aaron Rodgers would, because most guys now can't do that. Tom Brady says it all the time. These guys in college now are not being taught to read defenses. They're being taught to throw to their wide open receiver because there's so much fucking talent on these teams playing on, all the guys who go to the NFL. And I think that we've reached a point where you can, with a mediocre quarterback and a star offensive coordinator, pretty much replace the output of an elite quarterback, because the rules that, defense has to be so hands off, all these things, you no longer need a guy who can read defenses in that way. And I think that's a major shift right now.
I agree with you. We talk about running backs. I think the value of running backs you would start to see that trend up with the play from Derrick Henry this season. Running backs like, of course, Saquon Barkley. It's going to change the game up a little bit. The way you're saying, like the way quarterback play is changing the game is going to evolve too. So look to see running backs start to get big paydays pretty soon.
I think those things go hand in hand, though. I think that with the regression of quarterback play comes an increase in the value of both offensive line and running back play. Because if just from a very basic standpoint, we no longer have 30 teams that can run high flying offenses. And I mean, look at the numbers of quarterbacks over the last year. Like, we're not having anyone pass. There were years where we had multiple guys pass for 5,000 yards and no one's fucking sniffing that stuff now. We're not getting, maybe Burrow's getting close to it, but so many, we used to have like 3-4 guys throw for 5,000 yards. We're not getting anywhere near that now. A lot of dudes are in the 3,000s, not even cracking 4,000. It's a different league right now. And I think that comes with the fact that, hey, if we can't throw it deep, we're going to need to be able to pound the ball, which means we have to prioritize offensive line play. This thing about Tom Brady, and even towards the end of his career, he could succeed without a good offensive line because he had the ball out so quickly, because he's running all these option routes and slants and things that are immediate. Happen right now.
Right.
That stuff is gone. And all of these teams, you want to either drop back and throw a deep ball to our number one receiver who we've managed to get in single coverage this time, or I'm going to run play action and throw the ball to my number one receiver who I've managed to get in single coverage this time. And all of those things take time to develop. And I think we've reached a point where I think the offensive line is more important than receivers. And I know that that's crazy to say, but I think that you can find great receivers, but I think you need a great offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you. And let me ask you this. Do you think, the fair treatment of rookie quarterbacks, the pressure on rookie quarterbacks? Now, let's say Caleb Williams, for instance. Rookie quarterback, struggled this year, obviously, but he's with, he played, people forget that he played with a shitty organization with the Chicago Bears.
Sure.
So do you agree with people quickly, labeling him as a bust, or do you, or are you one of those people who's like, nah, it's partly not, it's not his fault all the way?
Well, so first of all, this is what I expected from Caleb Williams in his first season. So I don't label him a bust because, first of all, he was not the number one overall quarterback on my board. The number one overall quarterback on my board was Jaden Daniels. The second quarterback on my board was Michael Penix. And the third, I had Caleb Williams. And fourth, I had Drake May. And you can go on Twitter and you can see that shit. I posted that shit. I stand by it. It is true. So I don't call Caleb Williams a bust just because I expected this from him. The thing is, everyone forgets that this dude was throwing to wide open receivers at Oklahoma and USC. He was playing in the benefit of a Lincoln Riley offense that, although it completely sputtered without him, work to maximize what Caleb Williams was. He's either going to be able to take off, get some yards. He's going to be able to find a wide open man deep. He's going to have a release valve. It was all about making everything simple for him. Sort of what I'm talking about with the Ben Johnson thing. And they are not asking him to do that at an NFL level. They are asking him to read defenses. And I'm just not shocked at all that this year wasn't that good, because he didn't have to do that at USC ever. So I didn't anticipate that this year would be good at all. Jaden Daniels, on the other hand, was asked to read way more defenses at LSU. And they even did things like they put him in a simulator where he was, facing all these different defenses in different situations. They prepared him for the NFL. And he has an incredible deep ball. He can take off, all these things. And, same thing with Penix. I love Penix's deep ball. That's, a main reason I love him. But my thing with Caleb Williams was always just, he never faced any adversity. He basically played in no big games because USC wasn't ever quite good enough to really matter.
Right.
I wasn't shocked. So I do think people have put way too much pressure on him, because you're talking about a guy who didn't read defenses, now being asked to read defenses and doing it for a garbage organization. Like you said, the Bears suck. Yeah. And he's just supposed to fix it. They did good by him. They got Keenan Allen. They have DJ Moore. They drafted Romo Dude. Okay, yes, I understand that. But he's still got to get the ball to those dudes. He's still got to be upright to get the ball to those dudes. Keenan Allen hasn't had a good year. So, I don't think he's a bust at all. I just think the expectations for him were wrong. And I think that they need to hire a quarterback guru, just like I'm talking about, who says, you have all the talent in the world, and we're going to maximize that by making the offense about your talent and not about making you do something you've never done before.
All right. Next, should Jerry Jones hire Deion Sanders as the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, do you want to win a Super Bowl? Because
I'm assuming they should.
Yeah, so no. I mean, I listen, I love Prime as a college coach. All that shit works so well in college. That is exactly where he should stay. That will not work in the NFL. You are not bigger than the players in the NFL, and your success 30 years ago does not matter to them. They make so much more money than you. It's just a different world, and you have got to be able to communicate with your players in a way that isn't my way or the highway. Because you're not going to come in there and Bill Parcells this thing. We know that, right? We know how this works in this era. You got to be able to talk to these dudes. And the way that Deion has handled everything at Colorado is funny for social media, and it's cool, and they've done a good job, but it works in college. It does not work in the pros. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he doesn't have the aptitude to coach or anything. I'm saying that he would have to change fundamentally everything about the way that he has handled himself as a coach. And if he can do that, that's amazing. If they could pair him with two awesome coordinators, let him run the CEO role, let him be all about vibes and swag and these things. Okay, fine.
Right.
But, I just, you talk about, again, Deion hasn't even he's been coaching a few years. It's not like Deion's been, and it's okay. Deion knows defense better than anyone. I understand that. I get all these things. He's been coaching 4 years. It's not the same as being a pro coach at all in college. I just think this is one of those things that seems really cool, but isn't going to work. And I like Prime. I really do. Yeah. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying that it's not like he's a film dude. He hosts a morning show. It's not like he's a tape grinder, man. He's all about social media and all this shit. You can't do that in the NFL. Gerard Mayo just got criticized for playing cards with players on the plane after Patriots games and for not watching film immediately. What the fuck are we going to do when Prime is on his new Tubi show? Dallas Cowboys coach, also got my podcast, also got my Dallas radio spot.
People will attack him. People will find something to, say,
and they're not going to win because it's not, you got to do more. You just got to focus more. I just don't like it. I mean, again, it would be awesome. I would love to see it. And if they won, that would be amazing. I just think Prime would have to change so much about the way that he behaves. to work in the NFL. It kind of seems like they're going to do it though. So, what the hell?
I don't know. Maybe he's cursed. I feel like he probably cursed the Cowboys, man.
I mean, would you hire him?
And maybe the 49ers too, because guess the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl, guess who was on that team?
That's true, man.
Deion Sanders.
That's a fair point.
Last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, guess who was on that team?
That's a fair point.
Deion Sanders.
Is the dirtiest part of that the Falcons did not win a Super Bowl with it? It's like, oh man, the Falcons did him so wrong. Like, no. But no, would you okay, if you're Jerry Jones right now, I guess if you're like trying to make a splash with the fan base, I don't know, would you do it? Like if they came to you and said, King Hooley, make the call for the head coach.
At this point, Dallas has been in such a dismay, something has to work. You know what I mean? Something has to work.
All right.
I don't see. I mean,
I love it. I would love to see it.
100% will be like a media circus. The Cowboys. If you're a Cowboys fan, just get used to it. That's all you're gonna hear about.
Okay,
Dallas.
Okay, so
anything.
Couldn't he just be like Cowboys CEO and not necessarily head coach? Like, I'm just saying, like, someone has to coach the football team. Like, and I know that Colorado has done well, but like also they literally don't run the ball. They legitimately, seriously don't run the ball. He just has his son throw the ball 60 times a game. Like, this is like Pop Warner football shit. Like, the thing about him going to the NFL to me, if he goes to the NFL, he has to get Shedeur and Travis Hunter. We have to keep this thing rolling. Like, that's the only if we're gonna do this, then let's fucking do this. Because
oh my goodness, imagine if that happened, if he were to become the Cowboys head coach and somehow Shedeur and Travis Hunter land in Dallas. Scripted.
That's my caveat. If he can trade Dak for enough capital to somehow get Shedeur and Travis Hunter, then I say the Cowboys should hire him. Other than that, I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, but I also think it's a great idea because, like, I hate the Cowboys. They keep fucking up the Bucs season, so like I really hate them, and I would enjoy their failure. So I'm also like, yeah, hire Prime. It's genius.
Man. Yeah, it was my dad's team. My dad really loved the Cowboys. I can't stand them.
I mean, you're a Giants fan. You're not supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to like them. Yeah, so that's the one.
That's how you know football rivalry runs deep. You're like, my dad's team. I love my dad. He was a major influence in my life. Fucking hate the Cowboys.
Hate the Cowboys. That's two things. It was the Cowboys and he was in the Navy and I was in the Army. So the Army-Navy game was always a big one for us too.
Yeah. So, I always enjoy.
We talk so much. Oh my God, we talk so much shit.
That's one of my favorite things actually on social media is when the Army-Navy game comes around and all the shit you post leading up to those games is you always post all of the Army-Navy memes. I'm always dying laughing because but the funny thing is I'm also like, I've always loved the Army-Navy game traditionally because you just bet the under. Yeah. It's like the over-under is 31.5. You still bet the under. They scored 6 points. Don't worry. Now it's a little different, but your Instagram is always can't miss when leading up to the Army-Navy game just because there's always so much good shit.
It's almost so much history. There's a lot of history in it. Bro, man, I say, hey, you want to do a top 10 real quick?
Yeah, let's do top 10.
Let's do top 10. Top 10 was pretty fun last week. So we did top 10. I think we did breakfast cereals last week. This week, my homie he shot me over a text message. He was like, "Hey man, let's do top 10." We agreed that we're gonna do random things, right? So he said top 10 hip hop albums released in 1994.
Yep,
that's gonna be tough.
Yep, I decided to make it difficult for us this time
because but the way we do it is, it's kind of subjective, but
yeah,
I started off last week, or you started off last week. So I think I would start off this week. Yeah, I have the evens. I'll start off this week.
Yep.
I'll give my album a number 10.
Yep.
And he would try to better it, but you gotta kind of keep it within range, make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm with it.
It's always tough, but it's always a great conversation. So Feel
I got
free.
one for you. I got one for you that I think you're gonna look at me.
You got one for okay.
I got one for you, but I think we'll see. We'll see if we get there though, because we might pass by it.
I know. Let me pull up my notes real quick.
So yeah, last week we did breakfast cereals.
I had to do some
really
homework with this one.
We kind of winged it a little bit. This one we did the research because I said, hey, let's do 94 hip hop albums. And you got to check the year because you got to make sure it's the right year. So this is what we came up with.
I'm gonna start right here. Where was it? Okay. Number 10. I'm gonna say number 10.
Number 10.
Let's see if let me type it in here real quick.
We gotta put it up on the screen.
It kind of like kicked off an era of new hip hop.
Okay, I like it.
A whole movement, even though right now the CEO is in a lot of hot water.
Ooh, well, hey.
But Craig Max, Funk the World, dropped in 1994. And I remember that album was a banger, bro. I loved it.
And it's a good point you make about this is kind of the thing that you said it like kind of started a whole new era. This is kind of the thing there's so much going on in 94 that and this is kind of one of the reasons I want to talk about these kind of years. And we should at some point we should do 93, 95, in the future.
We said 93 before, but 93 was like 93 had I looked at 93. 93 had some bangers on it.
93 is really good too. Yeah, we'll do it. And we'll get to it at some point. But the thing is, these years are sort of where I think for me, and again, speaking as a white dude, so my opinion is whatever, but it's where, kind of hip hop met commercialized success, but in a way that created this sort of new era of super music, this like, club bangers and just shit to ride to. And this is a perfect example of that, like you said, like this is, Funk the World. That was one of the ones that was like an honorable mention for me, but that's a good one. I like that. That's a good one, man. That's good. This is the thing is you can't go wrong. Like there's not going to be any choices on here that are bad. So
no, absolutely not. Absolutely. All right. I don't think so.
All right. So my number 9.
If there is, I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So number 9. All right. Now, so this area was kind of tough for me because I had, a bunch of albums like, in this area trying to figure it out. But for me, I'm going to go with Resurrection by Common, then Common Sense. And the thing about Resurrection and Common in general is just that I have always loved lyrical hip hop. And, I used to love HER, all these things. It's like, I have always really focused on lyricism. And so albums like Resurrection that are really about, just about so much more than just, standard issue hip hop shit. Like, I'm at the club, whatever. And this is the thing I've always loved about Common. And, there's so many other tracks off this album too that are amazing. In general, the thing I love specifically about this CD is just that in an era where everything was ultra violent, Common was finding a way to speak to the same people, the same group in a whole different way, and was like really elevating the discussion. And that's just what I love about like lyrical hip hop is just like, and I love gangsta rap too. I'm not trying to I'm not shitting on gangsta rap too. I fucking love gangsta rap. I'm just saying that sometimes you're in the mood for that next level. And I just felt like this album was always on that level for me. And really I love, my favorite rapper is Canvas. He's not in this era yet, but I love all that kind of shit. So, that's where I came up with that though. That's where I landed there.
That's a good one, man. That's really a good one.
It's hard to choose a bad one in this year.
It is, man. It's really hard to choose a bad one. This one is number 8. It's another coming of age one. He's one. He became like throughout his career, he became top 5 of my top 5 MCs of all time, and it's Redman. There is a dark side.
Yeah, dude.
That album was so. Oh my goodness, that turned me on to like just a different side of music. You know what I'm saying? Because like that for me, that ushered in another group brought me to another group that, you know, I'm pretty sure we'll get mentioned on this list if we're smart.
Well,
if we're smart.
Also not to, you know, well, I won't say that, but no, that's, dude. And, you know, not to see this is like every comment I want to make. I'm jumping ahead too much. No, you know, this is, and again, this is what I'm talking about. It's like you see, this is like if you reach in a crate and it's like every single thing you grab, it's like, yes, another classic. Like,
yeah,
you know
right,
I mean?
right.
And Redman, I think, just like, dude, like I don't know if he's just such a fucking raw rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like just the way him and Matt together, like just And
I love this. I love the style, man.
The production on this album from the RZA dude, like, you know, just ridiculous. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree completely. That's a great choice.
Gotcha. All right, man. What you got? All
right. So number 7. So what I came in at is number 7, and this one is the Homer choice, I guess. It's everyone's gonna say it, but I mean I gotta mention it. Ill Communication by the Beastie Boys.
Oh, hey man,
did I snipe one? Did I put it too low?
No,
maybe I put it too low.
Listen, I saw it and I was like, I'm gonna leave it because I know he's gonna say it.
Yo, I mean, listen, aside from, you know, Sabotage, which I mean, come on. I mean, the thing about the Beastie Boys, and the really funny thing is, I almost wanted to say Some Old Bullshit, which is a compilation album they released that year, but you know, you can't do that. Compilation albums don't count. No, the thing about the Beastie Boys is, again, like, you know, for me, I will say that, you know, between them and Eminem, it did make it a lot easier for me to love rap. And I'm not saying that I loved Eminem and the Beastie Boys more than other rappers. I just meant that when you saw other white people rapping and enjoying it like you did, I was like, okay, they are accepted. So maybe I could be accepted too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I felt. Because, yo, I'll tell you the truth. And this is something like, I don't know, like I still do. I wanted to be a rapper. Like for most of that was like what I wanted to be. And I still rap. I'm still terrible at it. Whatever. I still make my own music for fun. I enjoy it. It's bad. Whatever. I don't give a shit. But the point is, like, that was like my childhood dream. So like seeing dudes be accepted was amazing. And, you know, Ill Communication, you know, it's not maybe as good as License to Ill, you know, whatever. The point is that it was a follow-up where they continue to show the ability to make hits into the 90s. And I think that to me was like, that was staying power, considering, you know, coming from like 7 years ago.
There was only a few artists that did that. LL Cool J is the other one.
Right, yeah, and so just,
in that era, it was only 2 artists, they hip hop artists that was able to do that. Beastie Boys, LL Cool J.
Yeah, and so it just, you know, to me it was like I was young in this era, but I got to these things later. But the Beastie Boys were just like, oh shit! Like when you first hear the first Beastie Boys song I probably heard was Intergalactic, but then when you go in the catalog, it's like, oh shit! But yeah, that's number 7 for me.
Number 7. All right, number 6, and I'm thinking back into like because like this 94 was the summer of 94 was when I was about to turn 14, so I was 13 most of it. So I had a lot of stuff happen. I lost my lip virginity. Lost my lip virginity. And there was a song from this album, from Creeping on the Come Up. Bone Slugs and Army. Played Thuggish Ruggish Bone was playing in the background when that girl grabbed me and kissed me.
She grabbed you and kissed you.
She grabbed me and kissed me.
Even better. Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of weird back then because I had my eye on another girl, and that girl was outside that day she did it, and the other girl saw it, and I was like, oh my god. Yeah. So I mean, that was
love triangle from day one. That's some summer of 94 shit, baby. That's
terrible.
That's oh my god,
terrible. But like, Creeping on the Come Up was like was a dope album for Bone. Like you say, you had Thuggish Ruggish Bone on it. You had the For the Love of Money on it with the late great Eazy-E. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot with that. You know, so that's their debut album, and he did a lot. He had a lot of influence in that. And I was watching a video on YouTube to this day. It was Busy Bone. It was Busy Bone and Crazy Bone, or one of them. Another one. They were just talking about Eazy-E as like with so much respect and pride in him today as they were doing like back then when they first put him on. He first put them on. So shout out to, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bone. Rest in peace, Eazy-E. That's my number 6 pick.
Yeah, and you know, that's, man, it's crazy too. Like, rap was not immune from like you're talking about Eazy-E, like dudes dying young. Like, you know, obviously, because so many, but normally it's like overdosing and drugs and shit. And obviously we have rap, we had shot and all these things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's crazy though, like how it changed. Like, that was the era of rappers dying from literal gang violence, you know, like, and Eazy-E then dies from something completely, you know, completely unrelated. Yeah. And it's, you know, again, it's, you know, maybe related to drugs or whatever, but it's still just like, it's crazy how rap was, even with all the gang violence and everything, rap was not immune from like that shit where you lost people. Like, and I feel like that shit gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. So we are at number 5, right?
Number 5. Yep.
All right, man. Now, yo, we're gonna take it a little across the country a little bit. This one, this dude is, I mean, he is who he is. You know what it is. I'm gonna say Scarface, The Diary.
Oh, hey, man.
Yo, with, I mean, No Tears is just one of the most classic songs ever. And the thing about Scarface is that shit, again, it just feels like real. Like, you know that every word, you know, is written from a place of truth. And you never felt like I never put on Scarface when I'm in like a good, happy mood. You know, you listen to Scarface when it's like, you know, the car dealer ripped you off and you're mad and you're going to go in there and yell at the dealer or something. This is my white people version of what you do with. No, but like, for real, I just, that album, and again, you know, yeah, it's on Office Space as well, which is hilarious and a movie I loved as a kid, but truly every track is hard as fuck.
Right.
And that's my thing. Like, I really love, you know, I just kind of love grungy, rough hip hop, and that's what this album is. That's what Scarface is, and yeah, that's where I landed there.
Okay, gotcha. Man, that's a good one, man. Definitely, you know what I'm saying, one of the albums that was, because you know, being from the South, it's definitely played like that a lot. Which brings me to this next group.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And forgive me, and I only put it here because I wanted to make sure they got here, because, like, you know, people watching right now, like, if my cousins, you know, Tavares or Razio, if anybody see me and I don't put that damn Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music by Outkast on this top 10. If it's 4, I'm sorry, it's too low. I have one more album in mind that could probably take number 2. It could be easily be number 1, but I gotta put Outkast right here.
Can I tell you something? Can I just say something real quick that'll make your cousins even more angry at you?
What's that?
I had Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music 3.
3. See,
talk to me about it. Tell me.
It would have been there. Had the odds this week, I probably would have put it at 3.
Tell me why. Talk to me.
This album, man, just, you know, Big and Andre rapping their ass off, man, rapping straight out the dungeon, bro. You heard the grittiness in the lyrics. You heard all this, you know, saying all the bangers, man. Too many to name. Just dope ass song, dope ass album, top to bottom.
Yeah,
easily, like, you know, so it's definitely. I mean, obviously in this top 10 right here, it's in my top. It's definitely my top 5, my personal top 5, higher than number 4.
And that's where, you know, I mean, that album is like, that is where like all of today's Southern rap fucking came from. Like, that is, I would argue, that is probably like the
put
most
him on the
influential. Map. Yeah, it's like the most influential Southern album maybe ever. Like,
Yeah.
That album is ridiculous, man. And yeah, I had it 3, so now I got to look and figure out what I'm going to put 3.
Oh, I stole your number 3.
You stole my number 3. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll put my number 4. It's all right.
Okay.
We'll bump up my number 4 because it's worthy. Because this is another album that seriously took music, R&B music, a step forward and really kind of merged it with hip hop in a way that wasn't really being done until you know who it was, and that's Warren G. Regulate. Which, I mean, obviously we all know Regulators, you know, I mean, come on. That is like that song. The funny thing is that song reminds me of being in Slovakia because I was in a hotel and I was teaching classes there in like 2010 and like the internet wasn't working and I had like limited access to the music I had downloaded. And I fucking was listening to Regulate over and over while I was ordering shots of vodka from hotel room services. A weird fucking time. But the point is, every single thing about G-Funk, I fucking love. Rest in peace, Nate Dogg, right? Of course.
Oh yeah, rest in peace,
Nate. And the thing is, like, this was the birth of so much other stuff, like 213. The 213 album, I know that's like 7 years later, but the point is, like, this is again an album that was literally so influential because, I mean, it's not necessarily that G-Funk is a brand new style of music, but like literally just taking the style of hip hop and using it with R&B instead of just like having a rapper rap, you know, a verse with some girl singing. Like they really, again, it was an impetus for a whole new thing. And the way that Warren G and Nate Dogg worked together was, in my opinion, just
they told a whole story.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, that's one of my greatest forms of hip hop. Is why I love it so much is the storytelling aspect of it. If I can listen to a song and it takes me on a ride, I would probably play that song millions and millions of times. You know, so if I can close my eyes and picture it, I think Biggie was really good at doing that. Jay-Z's was really good at doing that. But this song right here, you know what I'm saying, you can see it. You know what I'm saying? Even like when you look at the music video, like first time I heard the song, then I saw the music video. It fit. It made sense because that's what I saw in my head. You know what I'm saying? I watched a video the other day. It was Warren G being interviewed by Big Boy from the radio DJ out here in LA, and he was talking about lyrics, you know what I'm saying? So he was like in the beginning, it was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets trying to consume some skirts for the eve so I can get some phones. Okay. So I was like, he was chasing women to get some phones. And like in my head, and all the 44 years I've been on this planet, I'm sorry, like 30 years the song's been out. When I heard phones, I was thinking like phone numbers. You know what I'm saying? He chases some girls, he's going to get some phone numbers, he can hook up, give him a call, hook up with them later. But Warren G said phones was the code for getting some head. Some headphones.
I did not know that either.
What? Dude, I just found out. I watched that video probably 2 nights ago, and I thought that was so funny.
So that was a way to say that shit on the radio.
I've been singing that song the whole, since I was, 13 years old.
Man.
So I can get some phones. I'm like, I'm gonna get some phone numbers. I'm thinking in my head, phones meant phone numbers.
And that might be, you know what? That might be the best self-titled like track album ever. Like Regulate is like one of the best songs ever. It's like the best self-titled to an album. Like I fucking man. Like it's just classic. So number 3.
Number 3.
So number 2, baby. What is number 2 on your list?
Number 2, man. Number 2 and number 1, they could be interchangeable. Man, this is tough.
I'm very interested to see.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go Illmatic.
Ow!
I'm gonna go.
Snipe me again.
It could exactly. It could be number 1, man. It could be number 1. And I was I'm interested to see where you gonna put your number 1 now. Maybe you move your number 2 up to number 1. I don't know, but it's I just wanted to make sure it got his just due, got his definite respect. Nas's first album, bro, was 19 years old dude, you know what I'm saying, guy from Queens, just, you know, rapping his ass off, trying to get on, being hungry. It's gritty, has street element to it, had, you know what I'm saying, just a lot, you know what I'm saying? You would think it's crazy. You listen to the album, you're like, he's 19? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this is like grown man ass fucking bars and grown man ass stories. Like I said before, stories is going on in this album.
Fucking Halftime is one of my favorite songs ever, and the fucking it's got like the sleigh bells, like, you know, like I mean, life's a bitch, like life's a bitch, and then you die. So fuck the world, let's all get high. That shit, fucking, that came from there. Like, yo, that album, that was my number one album. That is like that for me. Illmatic is like a top 5 album all time. I love Illmatic. Like, it's, I mean, it's fucking Illmatic. Like, I don't really need to say much more than that. It's one of the greatest albums ever. It's every single track is fire, and like you said, it's very, you know, Nas 19. It's raw as fuck. It's original. Mm-hmm. That's I mean, that's where I fell in love with Nas. I listened to Illmatic, and the funny thing is, actually, after Illmatic, I went straight to Stillmatic because I really didn't discover Nas until like 2002 when God's Son came out. And, you know, I like that album, so I was like, I like some of the tracks I heard, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go listen to Nas. I listened to Illmatic. I listened to Stillmatic. But then, you know, like,
listen to the ones in the middle too, bro. They're pretty good.
No, of course not. Yeah, no, I got that. I'm just saying, when I was a kid, I started. Of course, yeah, dude. Hey, The Firm, come on, I love Nas. I'll take it deep with Nas. Like, Nas is one of my favorite rappers. Probably, again, Nas is like a top 3 rapper for me. So I fucking love Nas. I really do. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, again, just Illmatic is what it is, you know. And this is the one thing I always say about Nas, though, is when people used to debate, like, is Ether or Takeover better? You know, the whole Jay-Z Nas thing. I'd be like, man, nobody ever fucking says we takeovered them, but everybody fucking says we ethered them. So you know what the goddamn answer is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then of course Jay-Z paid him to come over. Nas forever. Anyway, so you stole that from me. That was my number one. But the thing is,
I'm glad you were thinking the same track. Then I'm happy that you was gonna put it at number one, because
there's one more album.
Chance, I would have done it.
But you know, there's one more album that's worthy of number one. There's one more album that's worthy of number one. So
I'm gonna type it. And I could be wrong. Let me guess real quick.
You know what it is. You know what it is. I ain't even. Come on. I don't even need to say it. You know.
All right. This is about Know You.
Boom.
And that was my toss up. Like that was my toss up for number 2. I was like, man, I could put number 2. I could put Notorious B, but what if he doesn't pick Illmatic? Let me make sure I put Illmatic on here. I'm good with
any chance.
It's weird. It's weird because like I'm good with Ready to Die not being on here in place of Illmatic, but I'm happy that both they made it.
Here's what I'll say, and why it's fair for Ready to Die to be number one. While Illmatic is, in my opinion, a better album, especially lyrics. I mean, Biggie's a great lyricist, but I think Nas is a little better. But Ready to Die is probably a more influential album in terms of just
production, man.
Yeah, I mean,
on Ready to Die was crazy.
Yeah, Illmatic was a little bit put together from some stuff that Nas had done beforehand, and some, you know, rebuilding some things. That the studio work on that album is ridiculous, and there are just classics. You know, I mean, Juicy and everything. It's just one of those things where it's like literally to this day, both Ready to Die and Life After Death, you know, you put that shit on and it's like, you know, it's still fire. Yeah. And so, you know, again, I would probably take Illmatic, but I think it's fair to have Ready to Die to be number one, just because that's like, again, that's like where fucking New York rap came from. Like not in terms of like the beginning of rap in the 70s, but I mean like what we consider East Coast hip hop today, where that shit came from.
A lot of influence came from like
this album poured so much into that. So I think that's fair. I think it's fair to put that number one.
Ready to Die, man, was just it turned everything on the head. It turned everything on the head, because like they coming off, you know, gangster stuff, you know what I'm saying? It made hip hop fun again. it made it cool to, you know, say be all right to dance again, because like before, you know, with Snoop Dogg and no disrespect to them, because like those albums, the Chronic and Doggy Style were crazy albums, and we'll talk about them at another time when we talk about 92 and 93. But we're coming fresh off of that. So like Bad Boy Alicia era, like I said, with the number 10 on this was Craig Mack's album. You know, remember they were packaged together. It was like the Big Mac deal they had going on with Bad Boy. But this album was just glorious, man. It was a banger, man.
Yeah.
Beginning Warning, you know what I'm saying? You named Juicy earlier, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Big Papa, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's so many songs. One More Chance, and so many songs that come off this album that if you play it in the club today, it's still gonna rock.
Yeah, and then
you know, so younger generation, if they want to say, if not, if they agree with me or not, if they want to say it, they would dance to it 100%. So
I was just gonna say, and that's not something you can say about other artists. You are 100% right. I was just gonna agree with you. Like you
what up, Point?
Right about that.
My man Hollow Point, my co-host on Truly Told Sports Podcast, checking in. What up, my dude? Appreciate you checking us out, brother.
Appreciate you checking it out, Hollow Point. Yeah. Me and him had a good conversation about what it's like to be a dad about 3 years ago when my son was a damn infant. So, you know, I learned a little bit from Hollow Point on that one. Yeah, I remember every conversation I've ever had with everybody, baby. He's probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't even know.
He probably is. He's probably gonna text me and say, man, what is he talking about?
Who is this cat?
That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
So, okay, real quick before we move on, though, one question. Mm-hmm. Did you have an honorable mention? Because I have one honorable mention that I want to mention.
Oh, man.
That came in at number 8 for me.
Mm-hmm.
More because of its influence than the album itself. The Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me by Master P.
Dude, here's why. Shut up.
Yo, I told you I had one for you.
Yeah.
Here's why. Here's why. But here's the thing. That is a dude in a room and a picture of him having sex with a chick on the cover.
Yeah.
And no production company. And that shit still sold and made the way for Mr. Ice Cream Man and everything that came from No Limit Records. Bro, and I know that was,
I thought about it. I thought about it. And I was like, I want to put it on there. But commercial, I'm thinking for whatever I think about things commercial, like the impact that it's had commercially, because it, you know, you didn't hear Ghetto's Trying to Hear Me Kill Me in 94. That's the way that was my thought point, like going through it. I heard it in 94. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But like I'm like, a lot of people aren't gonna know what it is. But it's definitely an honorable mention. Hey, I appreciate you for knowing that shit, my G.
Yo,
for real.
And that's fair. But I'm just saying, the early version of No Limit Party, which by the way, made its way onto a Silk the Shocker album in 1996.
For sure.
My favorite thing in the world about No Limit is that there wasn't a single song that didn't have 37 people on it. And that was, I just had to bring up, dude, No Limit. I had the biggest No Limit obsession when I was young. Bro, anyway, that was my honorable mention. I just had to bring it up because I can't talk about hip hop and not mention Master P. It's just not going to happen.
It's crazy. Man, mine is kind of like that, man. It's still in the South. This album was pretty hard. I liked it. The next album was bigger. And I'm talking about the Undisputed Underground Kings of the South, UGK. And that's Super Tight. The album Super Tight was pretty dope.
Yep.
You know, for a lot of reasons why Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me didn't make the top 10. This one didn't make it, but it's up there. That's
real, because that's an era where you got literally dudes like selling tapes out of the back of their car and actually
for sure. Like we talked about 93, right? 93 has Ball and G on it, coming out hard. That's up, dude. That is a hood classic right there. You can't no. Anybody in my era knows about Ball and G coming out hard. Shout out to Buff, man. Buff put me on a lot of Ball and G back in the day.
That's why I almost mentioned the College Boys on this one, because their album came out in 94, and that was fucking Romany Malco. But anyway,
Yeah.
Yo,
Do you listen to anything new? We talking all this old era, like before we get out of here. Do you listen to anything new?
I mean, I mean, I love Kendrick Lamar just like
Mm,
everyone else does, you know. I mean,
mm,
but yo, you see my little vinyl collection back here that I got that I'm working on. Most of that shit's pretty old. I mean,
mm,
I've got Damn by Kendrick, but again, even that's not new.
mm,
I'm always like years late. Like I
mm,
it's not that I don't like new shit, it's just that I'm
mm.
old. And
Right.
I have a 3-year-old son, and like I know the lyrics to the Spidey band, you know,
Mhm.
the little Spidey and Friends song. I know the lyrics to
Listen,
that
bro.
shit.
If
You
Miss
know?
Appleberry, if Miss Appleberry sings it, I know it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Miss
It's
Appleberry from Cocomelon sings it, I know it. That's
yeah.
my extent, like new music.
That's
Uh,
where, and so that's the thing. It's like it's hard to know, but I get to shit eventually. You know, I
mhm,
hear it on Sirius or I hear it on YouTube or whatever randomly. I'm like,
right.
oh yeah, that's fire. I'm just like 4 years late every time. But I'm a 38-year-old dude driving a Kia Sorento. Nobody's expecting me to be up on the latest music anyway. So, you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
you
what am
live
I
in your
gonna
lane, right?
yeah, whatever.
Live in your lane.
I'm all this shit is fire, and then I play Hypnotized by Biggie. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Bro, I could listen to 90s hip hop all day long.
I literally
That's
drove through the grocery store parking lot blasting Hypnotized the other day with the windows down. And I bet people were looking at me like, what is this dude doing?
what's he doing? Come get him. Oh man. As far as new music, man, like I don't know who these new people are. You know what I'm saying? I don't know like a lot of these guys who have like alphabets before their names, and I guess they belong to some clique or whatever. I don't know who they are. The mumble rappers, like I started losing interest like with the mumble rappers. Like I do know, Travis Scott. I know who Playboy Cardi is. I actually listened to a couple of his tracks. I'm new to, like, I won't say new to, but like Lil Uzi Vert. You know what I mean? I kind of listen to that stuff a little bit, just a little bit, micro doses, man. But when it comes to certain female rappers, like I can't do. Like I like Glorilla because she sounds hard and she's like real hood. You know what I'm saying? I like that. You know what I'm saying? But on the other end of the spectrum, you have people like Sexy Red who I cannot stand. I cannot stand.
Yo,
And
I honestly like
she
Cardi
had that
B.
one song, what was it, like a couple years ago? It was called Pound Town. I don't want to repeat the lyrics because there might be some kids still listening, watching us right now. But I remember being at my nephew's football game, and I want to say it was like their homecoming. So like obviously they have this big ruckus like student section, and they're blasting this song. The not the song that you play on the radio, the uncut version of this song. And I'm here, and for the first time in my life, I feel like a 40-year-old dad. You know, like, oh my god, hey, stop, turn it down, stop, no, shh, no, hey, turn it down. You know what I mean? I feel like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh my god, this is, you know what I'm saying? This is, I almost said preposterous. This is ridiculous. I look over, there's an older couple, and they're looking at me the same way, and I was like, oh my god, we're old. We're the old couple on the football game, but.
See, I'm still avoiding that because I'm like, although I did,
Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. Glorilla's cool.
You know what though? I can't even talk. I took my girl to a few years ago. We went to a fucking Demi Lovato concert because she wanted to go, and everyone else was like standing and rocking out the whole time, and we literally just sat there like two old people. And this was years ago, so I guess I can't really say shit. I mean, I like Cardi B. I'll be honest. Like, I don't have any of her albums saved to my streaming or whatever, but whenever Cardi B's on, that's fine with me. My girl listens to Cardi B all the time, so
Cardi's cool too. She's one that grew on me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, here's what I would say though, is number one, the fact that we're talking about do we like new artists, and I mentioned Cardi B, like that's a perfect example. This is like 10 years ago. Like that's the thing, is like I couldn't even
10
tell
years
you
already.
I don't know.
Life is so hard when like 10 years just flashes by you. That's crazy.
I don't maybe not. I could be totally wrong on the number, but the point is I don't think she's like what's hip. I don't think Cardi B is like what's happening, you know.
Well, I will say Glorilla is more current than Cardi B.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. This is the thing, is like you could ask, I might like some of the new rap. I truly don't even know. I just haven't heard it. The mumble rap thing is not for me though, just because, like I said, I like lyricism. So it's not even hating on them in particular. It's just if I can't understand what you're saying, it doesn't really work for me.
Right.
So, those tracks, I just like to find the instrumental and rap a version myself that's terrible. And then I'm like, yeah. And I listen to it myself in my car when I'm driving. I'm like, yeah. No, I'm just like, I do not do that. I'm just playing. I have done it, actually. I did it a couple of times. So whatever.
No, it's all good, man. Hey, we do that from time to time. Hey, your car is your studio. It's my studio. I sing as loud as I possibly can in my car. I rap to ridiculously, terribly. No one will ever hear them. But I anything that saying to make my travel down to 605 a lot easier.
Yeah,
so I would do that. I'll put on the instrumental and I'll drop a hot 16 in my head.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah, I like that. That's what we should do Freestyle Fridays on this show.
Fuck no, hell no.
Well, hey, we're only on Tuesday. We only air on Tuesday, so it's okay to do Freestyle Fridays.
Only on Tuesday. Freestyle Fridays.
That's why it's okay to do Freestyle Fridays.
Hey man, before we get out of here, you got anything you wanna plug, man?
I'll say two things. Number one, if you were ever gonna hear me sing "Ice Ice Baby," it would be in my car. So that I agree with.
Do you do karaoke?
Yeah, there you go.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
If I did karaoke, honestly,
yeah.
Last time I did karaoke, and I would probably do this again, would be "Act a Fool" by Ludacris.
Oh,
just because that's the only song that I can think of that I know I won't screw up any of the words because I could just remember it when I'm drunk because it's stupid. I don't know, just for whatever reason. It's the last song I did 15 years ago in karaoke, so I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Then I'll say one thing before we get out of here. We had talked about this as a topic, but I just want to say two things about this. I just have a question for the world. Okay. Why is there a show called Watson, which is Sherlock Holmes Watson, without Sherlock Holmes in it? Why is there a John Wick movie without John Wick in it? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Write new characters. I understand the concept of intellectual property. I truly do. But in the case of the Watson show, it was created by the same people who created the show Elementary on CBS. And yet it does not exist in the same universe. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing any of this? Why? And as far as intellectual property goes, again, people want Game of Thrones. They want more of that shit. So we're making Watson and John Wick with Angela de Armas instead of Keanu. And what are we doing? What the hell are we doing? I don't understand. Make new characters. Write new things. We're going to do Sherlock Holmes without Sherlock Holmes. Why? Why? What are we doing? Why? What's the reason? I don't understand.
That's crazy. Why would you do that?
I'm old. I hear the old in my voice right now.
That's ridiculous.
That's my part.
You know what? While you're on the same thing, right? We talk about the reboots and stuff like that. I just want DC to get their shit together. I want DC to get their shit together. Please get their shit together. Like, as much as I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what I'm saying, they did a fantastic job with that. The storylines were fantastic. The cinematography was great. The ensemble, the act, everybody was fantastic in that, man. DC, please get your shit together because my favorite superhero is still Batman. I want a decent. Now, shout out to the Penguin. That was a fantastic show on Max. If you get a chance, go check it out. That was great. But when if this Superman shit is bullshit, I'm gonna be fucking so mad. I'm gonna be so mad. Yeah, I'm gonna be so mad. Get your shit together, DC, please.
This is my Dark Knight chair I'm sitting in right now. You can barely see the logo, but I literally have a Batman chair. So believe me, I'm with you. Yeah. And did you like the Robin Pattinson, the Batman? Did you enjoy that one?
I mean, it was a bit long. I mean, I like the storyline. I think it was just drawn out way too long.
Yeah. I love Batman. Me too.
Me too. Like, you could have easily compacted. Like, I like the other Batman movies, even the ones that people say suck. I like it because Batman's my favorite.
Batman. You're speaking my language here. I don't even. I just co-sign.
Listen, when I call if I were to call your phone and you didn't have me stored, you would see my phone number and you would see Bruce Wayne. Call I like Batman that much.
That's what's
Crazy. It freaks people off. It's pretty cool though. But you got any last minute plugs, buddy?
Last minute plug, just doing the Blood Doctor show, new episode coming soon. I haven't done one since the new year because I'm like that, because I do that show whatever the fuck I want, not with the consistency that we do this show, Tuesdays at sometime between 5:30 and 6:30, depending on what the actual time is. But we'll get it. We'll get it at some point.
We'll get it together. It's funny because I did a video for a promo and I made a joke about Arizona sign. And if you don't know, the Blunt Doctor lives in Arizona. And I think this is partially the reason of our confusion. Anyway,
we're 40-year-old men who don't know how time zones work.
We don't.
It's an amazing show. Amazing show right here.
Thank you for watching. You can follow me, King Julio, on Instagram, whatever, TikTok, while we have it. And To the Toe Sports Podcast, we do live shows here with the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network Fridays at 5:00 Pacific time. It's 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central Mountain Time. You fill in the rest, whatever time Arizona wants it to be.
Yeah, you can get all my socials on blooddoctor.com. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube, and you can find us on Instagram at the King and Doc Podcast. Also on Blue Sky at the King and Doc Podcast. If you want to be one of the 3 people who follows us on Blue Sky, how exciting!
Well, if they follow us before, so just do it. Just do it. Tell everybody to follow us. We appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hollow Point, I see you, my dude. See you next Tuesday at
Peace.
One of those songs we said before. We'll let you know. Peace.